Holy moly! So, what's up guys? We are back with another video, and today we are with a very special guest, I think, right? Isn't he special or something?
Oh, you're gonna play it like that, huh? The guy who made your dream. So I asked him, Dad, on a scale of 1 to 10, what he thought the water feature that Team Aquascape and Brian Helfrich built him was. Yeah. You know what number he gave me?
There's no telling.
7. That's good.
That's good. And of course,
what would it take to get a 10?
That's what I said.
To get it bigger.
Classic. Big, bigger, biggest, good, better.
Never heard that before, have you? So Greg is the man behind Aquascape. Greg is the guy that when, you guys may remember, you know, last year Houston wanted a pool pond, and we built that and did videos on it. And within about the first or second, oh yeah,
it's 100 degrees. The dog's like, yeah, I'm just getting in.
Yeah, the dogs probably love it as much as anybody around here. So Greg was the man after you wanted your pool pond that started commenting and he found your Ira videos. I didn't know who Greg was. I honestly didn't know who you were.
I didn't know who you guys were until my YouTube channel started blowing up and people saying, you got to build a pond for Arms Family Homestead. You got to build a pond. So then I started following you guys, saw what Houston did. He kind of reminded me of somebody who was a very similar age. You're only 10. I was 12 when I built my first pond, but I grew up catching turtles, fishing frogs, playing in the creek, just like I see on Houston's thing. And I thought I could build a pond for my turtles, my pet turtles, and I brought 11 of my favorite pet turtles from New Jersey, which is on the East Coast, all the way to the flat barren cornfields of Wheaton, Illinois in 1982 when I was 12. That's how old I am. You can do the math there. How old am I?
52.
Oh, that's pretty good math, huh?
And might have had a help on that. Might have had a hint there, huh?
I asked him, how old do you think I am? He goes, in your 40s. I'm like, all right, just like your dad. Aren't you 40?
I'm 38.
Oh, your mom's 40. We won't tell that on camera. But my mom let me bring 11 of my pet turtles with me to Wheaton, Illinois. And the second day I was living there, I went in the backyard and started digging a pond for my turtles. And I went to the library. You know what a library is? I went to a library because there was no such thing as YouTube. And there was no such thing as the internet.
Look at the dog. Look, I can't help it.
Oh, that is awesome. That is fantastic. When it's 100 degrees out, that's what you should do. Oh my gosh, she's going underwater like a seal.
She literally is a seal.
That looks like that manatee I was filming today.
The first pond leaked, turned green, even my prize turtles migrated away, but I didn't quit because every summer I ripped it out and rebuilt it. And after 2 years of trying to fix the concrete, I put a rubber liner down. Then I started getting my pumps were getting clogged, so I put a garbage can and I used a little net from the laundry to catch the debris, which is just like you got right there. And my very first biofalls that you see up on the top there, that was made out of a Rubbermaid cattle trough, which I'm sure you have plenty out here, out with all the cattle. And about 7 years later, it was looking really nice. And that's when one day the UPS guy was delivering a package. I heard him ring the doorbell, and I was around back, and I go, come around back. And he walked around with a package, and he looked at my pond, and he goes, this is beautiful. How did you ever buy a house with a natural spring on it? He thought my pond was a natural spring. Do you think that made me proud? That's a great compliment to a pond builder. And I said, no, man, I built it. And he goes, you built this? Could you build me one? And what do you think I told him, Houston?
Yeah.
I said yes. And that was when Aquascape was born, 1990. I told my mom and my dad all I needed was a strong back, a wheelbarrow, and a shovel to start Aquascape. And that Christmas, I got a wheelbarrow and a shovel beneath the Christmas tree. And I already had a strong back from playing football. And I started building ponds, and my business took off. And now we ship all over the world. We're working with influencers. We have our own social media channels. And what I love to say, I love
my job.
Because I get to go and hang out with cool people and see how they're living the Aquascape lifestyle.
Yep.
Earl, are you trying to help Greg video? Earl's supervising. Gemma's guarding the fish. And Bella has done nothing but lay in the pond. She's soaking wet. She stirred up the water real good and nasty. But hey, I learned something, Greg.
What?
Sean, we were talking about Bella being in the water so much. And I said that she gets in there and stirs it all up, but it clears up.
Good.
He said that's the best thing she could do is stir up everything so that it goes back into the filter and gets cleaned out.
That's exactly what.
And I never really thought about that.
The more you use it, the better it is to take care of.
All right, Houston. It's the next day. We're going to take Greg and Sean to see the natural springs in our national park. This is right here in our backyard. And actually, I've never taken Houston to see this. He's never seen these springs. So all of our creeks are spring fed around here. So here's one. It's actually our what they call the nature center. There's a lot of animals and just cool stuff in here. So this creek actually comes underneath the nature center. But we're going to go up, check out the headwaters of where this creek comes out of the ground. And then we'll come back down here and go in the nature center and stuff. So let's go do some exploring.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to race?
All right.
Race to that sign.
We're coming up to the first spring.
Sean, race him to that sign. Hold on. Oh, stop. On your marks, get set, go.
What?
Go.
You're losing.
You're losing.
That's not fair.
Hey, he said on your mark, get set, go.
Oh man.
He said he went before you said.
All right, so this is the first spring that I wanted to bring Greg to check out. So our area is known for these natural springs that just bubble up out of the ground.
Wow.
This one is called Buffalo's. No, this is a part of Buffalo Springs. So actually, it's not the main spring. You can see it comes in way up there. We're going to work our way on up to the main head of the springs, but our area is known for these natural. I told you it was cold.
You weren't lying. Oh,
It's they're so neat. They're so cool. So all of our creek. Oh well, I'm in Sean's video there, but Houston and I spend a lot of time in creeks. We love creeks, and we have this whole creek life thing. And Greg's about.
Look at how gorgeous this is.
Yeah, Greg's all about water features and making a ecosystem water feature, right, Greg?
This is some sort of anacris in here. And this is good. We get inspiration by going out and visiting nature. This is just gorgeous out here. This is literally my favorite way to start the day. We had a nice breakfast, and now we're out here visiting natural areas, and then we're going to go back and see your pond later.
So we're going to hit some of the spring heads, so that we live in an area with a national park. Houston's excited about turtles. Obviously, they have turtles on every sign, but this is where we are, Antelope Springs. The actual spring head is on a little ways up. This is the first pool. And then we're going to work our way up to Buffalo Springs. And I talked to a good buddy of mine. He said some of the springs aren't flowing really good because of our drought. So we're going to go check it out. I haven't been up here in a long time. I don't even think Houston's actually been all the way up to the springs. Yeah. What kind of dad am I? We live in National Park right here. And my son has never actually been all the way up to the springs.
Well, this is why when you have guests in, it's a good excuse to get out and enjoy the areas that are right by your house.
So I really wanted to bring Greg to see these natural springs because they build what's called, well, on their ponds, the bigger ponds, they have a wetland marsh. And that's exactly what this is. It's filtering just like what these guys build. So would you say this is basically your wetland filter system right there? I mean, in nature?
Yes.
Which is what you guys are trying to mimic with a wetland filter, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Well, so this is really Ed the pond professor, the genius behind our wetland filtration system. This is, he's a degreed limnologist, which is the study of freshwater ecosystems. So basically, I'm just the pond guy that loves turtles, fish, and frogs, and then I got a genius guy, Ed the pond professor, that is the developer of the
You're just forgetting about me?
He's talking about Ed.
I know. Well, the turtle thing is what.
So anyway, he's the one that created the wetland filtration system that eventually you'll have as we get a bigger water feature. So your small water feature works just great with the skimmer and a biofalls that Ed and I kind of created together. But the wetlands is all Ed, and it was basically the best filter that you can possibly get because you can build as big of a water feature. You just build a bigger wetland for it, just like nature works.
Yeah, which this is basically Ed's wetland filter system. So the water's coming up out of the ground, being filtered through all these layers of rock, and then a spring pops up and it flows into a creek and eventually into a lake, which is exactly what you guys are doing.
Exactly how we do it. Work with nature, not against. Work with Mother Nature, not against her.
No one goes beyond me.
So this is the headwater of the creek right here. So this is called Antelope Springs, and I've never actually brought Houston all the way up here. I kind of feel like a like a bad dad moment here because he's never actually seen how these creeks start. I said, this feels like a bad dad moment because I've never actually shown you where these creeks start from. So literally, there's a rock wall about 30 feet tall.
Okay, what the heck is this?
What is it? Those,
Alright.
some kind of little invertebrate centipede. I don't know exactly what they are. I'm not sure. But look, Houston, look at me. This is where, like our creek, it starts in a different spot, but the same way. This is how our creek starts. It literally just comes out of the ground.
It literally is coming out of a rock.
This one is 100% just coming out from under a rock. And the water, feel the water, Houston. Feel it.
Oh my gosh.
A little cold, isn't it?
Oh, you mean
This is where it comes.
This is one of the springs. There's a couple up here. So this one's called Antelope Springs, and it literally just starts out of a rock wall.
That is so cool.
Feel like your ice bath back at Aqualand?
It does. I just need to get a workout in and lay in here. Wow, look at that. What a cool rock, too. It's just all compressed together like...
Hello? Where do you come from?
Looks just like something you'd see on Greg's channel, doesn't it, Houston?
Yeah. You gonna jump in the creek?
Oh, we'll jump in the swimming hole.
No, not the swimming hole, then.
Well, we can't, we're not supposed to get in and swim in this creek right here.
I mean in Little Niagara.
Yeah, that's a swimming hole.
I thought you meant the swimming hole at the house.
No. So you guys know my brother-in-law Dusty from Cross Timbers Bison. Dusty and I worked in this national park when we were in college, and there is a herd of buffalo, a herd of bison in this park, and this area is known for, you know, history of bison, and that's what kind of got Dusty into raising bison. And the buffalo always used to come to these springs, and the Native Americans called this area, at least this is the rumor that I was always told, Greg, they called this area Buffalo Suck. Because all the bison would come to the springs, and when the Native Americans would like try to sneak up hunting them, you could just hear all the buffalo sucking water out of the springs.
Interesting.
When you take 200 buffalo drinking out of a spring, I guess they could hear it, so they called it Buffalo Suck. I don't know if it's true or not. That's just always the story I've been told. So we're coming up on Buffalo Springs. Now, Kane, the park ranger that we talked to, a really good friend of mine, said Buffalo Springs may not be flowing near as well as Antelope Springs. So typically, this whole pool up here is completely full of water, and it's just bubbling up out of the ground. So keep our fingers crossed. Maybe at least a little bit of water's coming up.
Yeah.
So all of these rock structures that you see were built during and after the Great Depression by the civilian conservation crew work groups. I'm not an expert on this, but basically the same work crews that came in and built the dam on our creek that you see Houston and Jacoby jumping off of and swimming all the time, built all of these rock structures here in our national park. So this is a natural spring. Like, this water comes from nowhere except straight up out of the ground right here. And it's cold, isn't it?
Feels good though.
Does it? So you can see right now that this spring is not flowing very well. There's barely any water leaving the pool. Typically this is flowing, you know, a lot better than this. And you can see the water actually bubbling up, actively just coming up out of the ground right here. But it's a pretty neat thing. What?
This one looks better.
Yeah, so this is the main spring head, but you can see, Houston kind of pointed this out. I didn't even see it when I walked over here a minute ago. This is what it looks like when the water's actually bubbling up out of the ground. So it's bubbling up here more than it is inside where they built it. I really can't see a whole lot, and you're not really supposed to get in there, so I'm not going to get in the spring, but you see all the bubbles coming up?
Yeah.
The water literally just flows up out of the ground. Pretty cool, isn't it, Houston?
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this giant turtle.
Over the rock. This is what's in that natural environment. You should go pick him up.
No!
That is cool.
We were just cruising along the trail, and I looked over off this waterfall and saw this giant turtle. Look at this thing.
Now these things, unlike alligator snapping turtle, don't stick a stick in it. They can snap all over.
Oh, they've got a long neck. I just told everybody earlier, I pointed out Houston was excited to see some turtles back here. I didn't think we would see one this big.
That's a long animal. Look at that. Now that would hurt, and that gets you.
Yeah, that guy can reach out there. See that? Yeah. He can reach out a long ways.
Yes,
that's not a turtle that Houston wants in his pond for sure.
No.
Not when you're dipping your toes in to cool off in the evening.
That's what I was just telling him.
This is where he's getting his food, not the stream as much. Okay.
You probably just saved that guy 45 minutes of climbing. How long would it have taken him to get up this?
Yeah.
You know, there's no way he could have climbed straight up, so he'd ended up having to go out and around because he couldn't get up that. But look at there. You saved him like a lot of work. Now you can go get lunch.
I like turtles.
So we're going to go ahead and come on and
We're going to go check out the nature center, huh?
So you have buffalo on the property?
Yeah, there's bison. We have a bison viewpoint along one side.
All right, Houston. So I'll tell you a story. See this big bison right here?
Yeah.
This is what started Cross Timbers Bison. When Dusty and I used to work at this park when we were in college, we called him Crooked Horn. Can you figure out why we called him Crooked Horn?
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to feed him. Like he was big. He's probably not as big as what Big Joe is now. Big Joe is a monster, but that right there is the history of Cross Timbers Bison.
That's crazy.
Yep. What else did you find in here? Anything cool?
Yeah.
What? Show me.
Okay.
There used to be a copperhead in a cage here too. Oh, yep. We got a bunch of those on the creek, huh? Little leopard frog.
Then over here there's a rat snake. These are one of my favorite snakes.
You like that guy?
Yeah.
Got a glare.
I like the shape of like their head and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so me and Vinny, we
Tried to find the queen bee.
the queen bee, but we couldn't find her.
Yeah, it might be kind of tough.
Yeah.
Look at this aquarium. It's got bluegill and sunfish in it, red ear sunfish. It's a pretty aquarium, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a gar.
Yeah, this one's always been here for a while.
All right, Houston. This is Little Niagara, okay? It's pretty chilly. It doesn't bother Greg because he's from Chicago. He's used to the cold.
All right, good job. On a count of three. Tell me, I'll be careful. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Holy moly!
So we're probably about a half a mile downstream from the springs, and where the water comes out of the ground, it's about 60 degrees or so. So this swimming hole, you're probably roughly 65 degrees, no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's 105 outside. That temperature change, when it's like right now, it's probably 90, but when it's 105 outside and you jump into 65, it feels like an ice bath. And Houston just experienced that.
It's turning purple.
I told you it was cold.
I knew it was cold, but I didn't know it was this cold.
It's a lot colder than our creek, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the temperature is what keeps this so clean, though. Look, this water is crystal clear. There's very little moss and algae and everything. But with it being so cold, it's hard for, the algae and stuff to grow.
Okay, here we go. I have to jump in. Hey, and as always, I love my job. Let's go.
All the girls.
brought Greg all the way out here from Chicago. He found fans that knew him, guys that watch his channel.
Yeah.
And they just moved to Sulphur, just moved to our town from another town to play football and everything else. So
But he hasn't seen the pond that we built for the Arms family yet. You've seen the one we did for Justin Bieber, though, right? And then Houston, I see you got some admiring young ladies over here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Be quiet. Be quiet. Listen to me.
I can't take Houston anywhere these days. Everywhere we go, girls want to take pictures with Houston.
Yeah. I don't like it.
You don't like it? Oh, you don't mind taking
like it.
you don't mind taking pictures with people. It's
just
it's when guys give him a hard time about the girls, huh, Greg? He gets a little bashful. That's good. Well, we just made it back to the house. We spent all morning hanging out with Greg and Sean from Aquascapes. Be sure to, if you haven't already, go check out Greg's channel, Greg the Pond Guy, on Facebook and YouTube. Team Aquascape, his company, Aquascapes, builds water features all over the country. And Bella absolutely loves our little water feature. Bella, Gemma, Earl, Houston, Mom, me, everybody loves our little water feature here. And I think the fish are a little confused by all of Bella's swimming activities, but they've got places to go and hide and all that stuff. But it was really cool to get out with Greg and see. I mean, that national park is in our backyard. And I do kind of feel bad because I've never actually taken Houston to see those springs. But we've got so many creeks and we spend so much time on our creek. We do a lot of creek exploring. And it's just one of those that we just don't hit because you can't fish in it. It's just really kind of a hiking trail. But the springs are unbelievably awesome. And it's really neat to go take people that have never seen that kind of stuff and to see what Greg and Aquascapes does and what they build. This is basically a smaller version of a natural spring. So if you just break it down into smaller features, so it's got a pond, which some of you have commented, hey, how come your rocks are turning green? You've got an algae problem. I specifically asked Greg about that, and he said that's the perfect amount of algae on the rocks. You don't want too much, you don't want too little. The algae helps, you know, clarify and clean the water and remove nitrogen and stuff. But anyways, back to what I was saying. The way they build these little ponds, this biofalls is basically just like the natural springs. So that water is pumped from the skimmer down there. Obviously ours is a closed cycle, but this is just like the spring, and all of the waterfalls on here are basically a version of what we looked at today. This is Aquascape's way of mimicking nature, building a natural waterfall, you know, and we put plants from the creek, and all of these little waterfalls and areas are just so cool. So what I was saying was, it's a lot of fun to get to take somebody like Greg out to see this kind of stuff, because this is what Greg has built his career on, and those natural springs and natural waterfalls are the inspiration behind their business, behind a lot of what they do in their business. And you know, I'm sure he's traveled all around the country and seen all kinds of natural streams and creeks and waterfalls and stuff, but they really did, I feel like, enjoy seeing our neck of the woods, and I hope you guys did too. It's Chickasaw National Recreation Area. It's a national park in our area. With our area is known for natural springs and stuff, and if you go back several decades, I'm not a history professor, but if you go back several decades, our area was known for medicinal healing powers, Earl. So Earl enjoys taking mud baths in the creek and pond and all that stuff. Well, you go back to the 20s and 30s, our area was known for all these springs. And those springs had different powers, different minerals and different healing, you know, potential. But, you know, some of them had sulfur, some of them had bromide, some of them, all these different things. But they flowed through these creek beds, and women and men came from miles and miles around to take mud baths in our creeks because they thought they had healing power. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. But I would like to have seen you know, how would you like to have walked up on a creek in the 1930s and there'd be 12 or 15 women just laid up in the creek bed, caking mud all on them to heal whatever ailment they had. I don't know. I just think it would have been comical to see. You don't see that these days. But I love getting out and exploring creeks. I think that's one thing, you know, we've done so many creek videos here on our channel, and having Cole and Jay out to explore our creek and bringing other people out to see it. What, Earl, am I not giving you enough attention? But that's what I enjoy doing, and that's what Houston enjoys doing. And it was so much fun to get to see him exploring another creek and seeing and learning about those springs and how they work. And, you know, Greg and Aquascape's build, this is a smaller system, but the bigger rec ponds, they put in a wetland area where the water seeps up through several different types of rock and gravel up into plant roots, and that's their filter. It's like a natural filter. It's exactly what we were looking at today. So getting to teach Houston about that, and I got to learn a lot from Greg, was a lot of fun. It's really cool, but I think we need to do more other creek exploring videos and other streams and waterfalls and things. You know, last year we went over to Turner Falls and took Houston over there for the first time. He had never seen that. It's Oklahoma's largest waterfall, like 77 feet tall. It's a big tourist area. I want to hit some places that aren't such tourist areas, but I don't know, maybe in the future. Problem is, school starts in 2 days. I'm fixing to lose my sidekick. We go through this every year. It's like it's this big emotional thing for me. I lose my sidekick to school, but that's just part of it. Fella, are you enjoying yourself? Are you hot? But that doesn't mean the videos will stop. We still have evenings and weekends and all that stuff, and everything on our channel is like, it comes and goes in cycles and throughout the year, whether it's gardening or goats or the baby donkeys or the creek stuff or hunting and fishing. It just all comes in cycles, and everything has its time. So we'll be back in the creek some more before summer's over. It's just school starting. We'll probably have a little bit less for a little while. But one other thing I wanted to remind you guys about is our video creators conference. I'll leave a link in the description box if you guys are interested. Keeping It Dutch and I are putting on the conference coming up the last weekend in August. So we're just a few weeks out, and we haven't sold out of tickets. There's still plenty of slots left, but I'm sure as it gets closer, a lot of people are going to wait till the last minute to buy tickets. But Video Creators United Conference, it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, Jason from Cog Hill Farm is going to be there speaking. Lester from I'm a Survivor and Jamie are both going to be there to speak. And we've sold a bunch of tickets, and a bunch of people are coming. It's going to be a great event. We're going to be serving steak on Friday night. We're all going to hang out, have a good time, and then have some classes and some speakers speaking all day on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. So check it out if you're interested in learning more about growing your social media platform. By no means are we top of the line world experts, are we, Earl? But we're just going to talk about what has worked for us, what's worked for Lester, what's worked for Jamie, what's worked for Dutch, and hopefully share some inside information with you guys to help you grow your platform, your video platform, if that's something you're interested in. Anyways, guys, Earl, do you think you can wrap this up? I think Houston's inside taking a nap. We wore him out walking trails this morning. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.